Brown fat helps regulate your body temperature and will also help you lose weight if you know what to do. Perhaps you've wondered how animals maintain body temperature while hibernating. The way they do it is through a substance called brown fat. You have two types of fat, white and brown. White fat, adipose tissue, is the type we're used to having. It accumulates on your middle, it accumulates on your arms. It's the kind of fat that we don't like to accumulate. White adipose fat is primarily energy storage. When it comes time to burn it, your body breaks it down, releases it, and it is burned by the mitochondria in cells throughout your body. Brown fat, though, is different. Brown fat has mitochondria. Brown fat generates heat when it burns. Hibernating animals have large quantities of brown fat. It's usually between their shoulder blades. With humans, it's between their shoulder blades and their armpits alongside their neck. The hypothalamus in your brain is the body's thermostat, and when it detects a drop in temperature, it activates the brown fat, and you begin to burn fat to generate body heat. People used to refer to the fat deposit between the shoulder blades of hibernating animals as their hibernating organ. In fact, it's just a large brown fat deposit. When they removed that, they found that these animals were unable to regulate body temperature. Human infants are about 5% brown fat by weight. That's because when they're teeny, they lose a lot of heat, and so they have a lot of brown fat to regulate their body temperature. For the longest time, it was thought that humans lost brown fat with age. And that's largely true. It's true that we tend to lose it, but it's not true that we have to. What causes us to lose it is that we spend our lives living at 72 degrees. And since we're using a thermostat on our wall to regulate body temperature, our internal thermostat, the hypothalamus, doesn't have as much to do. We don't have to burn fat in order to retain body temperature. Not long ago, some researchers recruited some college students to participate in a study. The study consisted of sleeping in a 60-degree room at night with nothing but a sheet. That's cold enough to be cold, but not cold enough to shiver. At the end of the experiment, the test group, those who had slept in a 60-degree room, had measurably more brown fat than those who had slept in a 72-degree room. The greater the cold exposure, the more brown fat you will have. Several years ago, there was an article about how Michael Phelps burns 8,000 calories a day in the swimming pool. And it's easy to think that the reason he burns that much energy is because he's swimming such a long distance, but that's not really it. The reason is he has to maintain body temperature in a 70-degree pool. And so he's continuously burning fat as he swims. So if you're looking for a good way to lose fat and drop weight, perhaps some cold exposure might help. I'll talk about this more in another video, but I do a lot of cold exposure to help boost the amount of brown fat that I have. And last winter, for example, I didn't wear a coat, and I live in a place where I have to shovel the snow off my driveway. I'll go out there in a t-shirt and shovel the driveway for an hour, and I don't get cold. There are at least two ways that you can generate body heat. One of them is through shivering. It's called shivering thermogenesis. The second is by activating brown fat. That's called non-shivering thermogenesis. Rather than generating heat by boosting activity, that is shivering, you just generate heat directly using brown fat. So if you're interested in losing fat or boosting your metabolism or burning more fuel while you're at rest, get out there in the cold. There's only one problem. Most of us hate being cold. Our ancestors were more likely to survive if they could find a way to avoid the cold. And so as a result, we have a natural aversion to it. You'll find that you get used to it, and after a while, the cold actually feels kind of nice. Some people take ice baths as a way of stimulating brown fat production. There are also cryo chambers available where you can subject yourself to extremely cold temperatures for short periods of time. To repeat a theme from previous videos, you're ideally suited for cold climates. If you weren't, your ancestors would have died off. You're ideally suited for cold weather, but you have a thermostat on the wall now and you keep it at 72, and so you don't ever expose your body to the conditions for which it is ideally suited. If you want to click subscribe if you haven't already, you'll find there's a lot of other content that you may find useful. Try taking cold showers. I'll be honest, it takes a little bit of time to get used to it. Every so often, you ought to have an ice bath. That's all I've got.